Ruth Longfellow. Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere. On the 18th of April in 75, hardly a man is now alive who remembers that famous day and year.
He said to his friend of the British march, by land or sea from town tonight, hang a lantern aloft from the belfry arches nor church towers sinful light. One if by land and two if by sea, and I on the opposite shore will be, ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm, for the townsfolk to be up and to arm.
Then he said good night, and with a muffled oar he silently rowed to the Charleston shore. Just as the moon rose over the bay where the swinging wide at her moorings lay, was the Somerset British man-of-war, a phantom ship with each mast and spar across the moon like a prison bar, and a huge black hulk that was magnified by its own reflection in the tide.
Meanwhile his friend through alley and street wanders and watches with eager ears, until in the silence around him he hears the muster of men at the barrack door, and the sound of arms and the tramp of feet, and the measured tread of the grenadiers, marching down to their ships on the shore. But he climbed the top of the old North Church by the wooden stairs with stealthy tread to the belfry chamber overhead. Then he startled the pigeons from their perch, and the somber rafters round him made, and masses of moving shape and shade. By a trembling ladder steep and tall, to the highest window of the wall, where he paused to listen and look down, a moment on the roofs of the town, and a moonlight flowing over all.
Beneath in the churchyard lay the dead in their night encampment on the hill, wrapped in silence so deep and so still that he could hear, like sentinels tread, the watchful night wind as it went, creeping along from tent to tent and seeming to whisper, all is well. A moment only he feels the spell of the place and the hour of the secret dread, of the lonely belfry and the dead. Then suddenly all of his thoughts are bent on a shadowy something far away, where the river widens to meet the bay, a thin line of black that bends and floats on the rising tide like a bridge of boats. Meanwhile impatient to mount and to ride, rooted and spurred with heavy stride, on the opposite shore of Paul Revere, and he patted his horse's side. Nor he gazed at the landscape far and near, then impetuous stamped the earth, and he turned and he tightened the silent girth. But mostly he watched, with eager search, the belfry tower of the old North Church. It rose above the graves on the hill, lonely, spectral, somber, and still. And though he looks the belfry tight, a glimmer and then a gleam of light, he springs to his saddle, bridle turns, the unceasing gaze, full of sight. A second lamp in the belfry. A herd of hoes in the village street, a shape in the moonlight, a bulk in the dark, and beneath from the pebbles in passing, a spark shook out by that steed, flying fearless and fleet. That was all, and yet through the gloom and the light, the fate of the nation was riding that night. And the spark struck out by that steed in his flight, kindled the land into flame with its heat. He has left the village and mounted the steep, and beneath him tranquil and broad and deep is the mystic, beating the ocean tide, and under the alders that skirt its edge, now soft on the sand, now loud on the ledge, is heard of the tramp of the steed as he rides.
It was 12 by the village clock as he crossed the bridge to Medford town. He heard the crowing of the cock and the barking of the farmer's dog. He felt the damp of the river fog as it rises when the sun goes down. It was 1 by the village clock when he galloped into Lexington. He saw the gilded weathercock swim in the moonlight as he passed, and the meeting house windows, black and bare, gaze at him with a spectral glare, as if they already stood aghast at the bloody work they would look upon.
It was 2 by the village clock when he came to the burning Concord town. He heard the bleating of the flock and the twitter of the birds among the trees, He felt the breath of the morning breeze blowing over the meadows brown. One was safe asleep in his bed, who at the bridge would be first to fall, who that day would be lying dead, pierced by a British musket ball.
You know the rest in all the books you have read, how the British regulars fired and fled, how the farmers gave them ball for ball, behind each fence and farmyard wall, chasing the redcoats down the lane and crossing the fields to emerge again, under the trees at the turn of the road, and only pausing to fire and load.
So through the night, read Paul Revere. So through the night, went his cry of alarm to every Middlesex village and farm. A cry of defiance and not of fear. A voice in the darkness, a knock at the door. A word that shall echo forevermore. For born on the night wind of the past, through all of our history to the last,